Going on, dudes and dudettes? So yeah, the women's basketball team on their social media site put out all the awards that Juju Watkins has won in her first two seasons. It's a pretty long list, so yeah, she definitely has deserved all those accolades, and hopefully she will come back with a vengeance at some point next season. Then Kiki Iriafen has been invited to the WNBA draft, which I believe is this Monday, April 14th, around 7:30 p.m., so 4:30 here on the West Coast. So yeah, congrats to her. And I know the Sparks pick around 9th, and I don't know if they want to package all those up to move up to get her unless they need more bodies, but yeah, it'd be cool to have her stay home in LA where she was playing recently for USC, but she's most likely going to be the top 2 or 3 pick right after my other favorite player, Paige Beckers of UConn. Then when it came to a basketball player for the men's side, yes, power forward Jaden Brownwell, Brownell, I don't know how that last name is, Brownell, could be Brownell, I don't know, but he came from Samford, and he is transferring to USC to play basketball. So yeah, don't really know much about him, and did barely even know like the football program at Samford. So yeah, hopefully he's a good enough player, good enough depth piece to add on their front line, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. But they did sadly lose out on another high school basketball player in the 4-star LZ Harrington. He recently decommitted from USC. He was a top 65 recruit in the 2025 class and a recent Harvard commit too. So yeah, we'll find out, I guess, if he ends up officially leaving USC and not coming back onto the roster. And then it looks like one of their coaches, Quincy Pondexter, one of the assistant coaches, won't return for next season. So yeah, I don't know where that is, if how that's going, or why it happened, why he's not returning. But either way, good luck to him. Then there was a player who recently decommitted from the worst USC, South Carolina, and it looks like he recently visited USC last weekend, and he says, I'd say one thing, USC really showed me, what they really showed me was love. I got there and they made me feel home. And I know when a lot of the other recruiting guys who follow the team like repost on X and all that stuff, certain players of what they said, and certain things talking about specific players, then it's most likely related to a USC guy. And obviously this guy is pretty heavily in favor of USC right now, so that'd be pretty cool if they could get him in this class. And then there was another player in the 4-star edge, Tristan Gibbons, is now down to 4 schools, and USC made that. He's from Georgia. He's 6'4", 215, and a top 70 overall recruit. So yeah, at least they're in it for one of those top guys out there in the nation, and hopefully, excuse me, they could steal another player out of the state of Georgia. And I was looking at the On3 rankings, and of course now all of a sudden USC has regressed to the 2nd spot, even though I have not heard of LSU getting another prospect after that top guy that they got a week or so ago. USC has just continued to add players and add up to that 270 something that they had recently, whatever percentage points and all that crap that they calculate, and I don't know how they've fallen back. It really makes no sense. I'm kind of doubting this site right now when it comes to their ranking. I think they just hate USC in general, but they talk a lot about USC, so I gotta always follow them and see what they are posting. And then when it came to Fox Sports putting on the top 10 of the colleges with the most first overall picks in NFL draft history, of course USC now leads that with 6. And then they put out a top 10 of colleges with the most Hall of Fame players in NFL history, and USC leads with 14, which is obviously a favorite number of mine. So yeah, that was great to see, and hopefully we could add a couple more in the near future for that Pro Football Hall of Fame. Then this one site put out like the top returning players in the Big Ten when it comes to the receivers, and luckily USC's Mekhi Lemon was number 5 on that list, but I was kind of surprised that Jacoby Lane was not on there, because he was 2nd overall in total touchdowns with 12 last year in the Big Ten, and he couldn't even crack the top 10, and he's going into a more involved role this season, his junior year. So I don't know how much you can go with what this site is saying, how much you can rely on them, but either way, they at least had one USC guy in there, so I had to talk about Lane to get his name out there. And then ex-safety Kalen Bullock, who was drafted by Houston, recently said about USC that he thinks they developed him all the way for the next level. Great coaching staff, great program, made sure he was on top of his game every single day. Once he stepped on the field at SC, he knew he had to bring it every single day, and yeah, that's great to hear. I always wished he would have came back, and I don't know if it really would have helped him last year for that pretty abysmal season, but he's obviously played pretty well in the NFL, so he definitely deserves some of that all-rookie recognition. A couple of basketball players in the portal that are maybe still considering USC, or USC has at least gone out to. There was a Florida Atlantic transfer, Trey Carroll, who said he's heard from schools, and USC was one. Arizona State transfer Jaden Quintance, former 5-star player, says he's heard from teams including USC since entering the portal. Syracuse transfer Eddie Lampkin has heard from the following schools, including USC. I believe he's a center. And the Charlotte Hornets are celebrating Taj Gibson the 1,000th game in the NBA, which is pretty crazy. Ex-USC guy, so yeah, he's been around forever. So yeah, congrats to him on reaching that milestone. And yes, the women's championship came down to UConn getting that victory. So congrats to them. Obviously, I think if USC was healthy, they should have been able to win that title. That's obviously my opinion. So, of course, the team that knocks out USC ends up winning the title. And then, yeah, when it came to the baseball team, they defeated Ohio State the other day 10-9, and then they beat LMU 14-6. And then the women's water polo team is now ranked #1 in the nation, so congrats to them. A couple of new faces for the Trojans this spring on the women's indoor volleyball, Taylor Deckert and Abigail Mullen, so they look pretty good right now. And on the beach volleyball for the women's side, they defeated the #3 Cal Poly team 3-2 and the #7 Florida State team 4-1. And they had a couple of pairs of the week in Kennedy Coakley and Ashley Pater, and then also Madison White and Zoe Henson. So yeah, congrats to all those ladies. And yeah, they're definitely showing out pretty early so far. And when it comes to the men's volleyball side, they did defeat Grand Canyon 3-1 pretty recently. They also defeated Pepperdine 3-1. Then they defeated #13 Grand Canyon 3-1 once again. And then yeah, it's just looking at my score for the tournament. It's had like an 82 correct percentage. I guess, you know, that's for the women's side. So yeah, that's pretty high. So yeah, I guess it's just easier to choose chalk to some of the higher teams to win in advance on the women's side. So I guess that was just my luck there. The Anaheim Ducks got a couple of victories. They defeated the Edmonton Oilers 3-2, and then the Calgary Flames 4-3. Then they also signed Carrie Terrence to a 3-year entry-level contract. So yeah, congrats to those guys. Yeah, sadly they got throttled by the Kings, but hopefully they can bounce back. So thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Bye now.